Absolutely.
Bonjour, hello, goeiedag, dumela, legai, salibonani, linjani, magadi, mulishani, mulibwanji, habari. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are tuned in from on this beautiful earth of ours, we say thank you for joining us. Thank you again for making the time to this amazing new series, which is actually episode 5 of Get to Know Them. These are Ego Wings facilitators. These are amazing women and men that impact our lives, that help us change to be the better people that we can be. These are people that dedicate themselves, that serve actually to just help us to navigate life when we feel that we cannot do it anymore. My name is Candy and I'm your host. So today is episode 5, and this whole series is for you to get to know these phenomenal facilitators. They impact us on such levels that help us to change, to be better people. The reason why this season was started is that you see them on different platforms, you hear them speak, you listen to them on radio, you watch them on TV, but at the end of the day, they are as simple as you and I. So we just want to dive into their lives to get to know what it is that they like. Who are they? What are they all about? What do they love? What makes them laugh? What makes them cry? So today I am joined by a phenomenal, incredible woman. My goodness, this woman is a storyteller in the sense that she will impact your life. And when she gives you that poem, you actually literally have goosebumps. This is an international award-winning woman. She has written books that are going to blow your mind. And you know what? She is releasing these books, series by series, and she leaves you hungry. You want to get to read and get to know what it is that she's sharing with us. She has won over 5 international awards, and her name is just out there. People want to get to know who she is. People cannot get enough of her. So today I am honored and I am blessed to be joined by a phenomenal woman called Lynn Hill. So all of you who are tuned in, thank you again for joining me for this amazing episode 5. Allow me to introduce Lynn Hill. Lynn, what an honor. Thank you for joining me. How are you, Lynn?
I am absolutely super blessed. After that introduction, it's like, whoa, no pressure. And you know what? That isn't really Lynn. We are not our awards. We are not our titles. We are who we are in our hearts and in our souls, and not our roles. So today I'm de-rolled, Candy. But thanks for the introduction, very humbling.
It is lovely to see you, Lynn. It is, I love our conversations because Lynn, you have such energy. You are such a bubble. You are an amazing person to chat to. Even when one is low and they chat with you, you just manage to bring up this amazing energy. And thank you so much for making the time. I know you are extremely hectic, but today you are very right. We just want to dive in to get to know who Lynn is. So who is Lynn? What is Lynn about? Who is she?
She wishes each time she's asked this question that she's able to have 4 first names, or 2 names at least after Lynn Ann. So Lynn Ann is her first 2 names. Then if she could be rebaptized, she'd love to be called Grace as well, because she believes that you can do anything, but if you don't do it with grace, grace is attitude. And if it's not done with an attitude of grace, man, there's not going to be longevity to the impact and the experience. And so I'd love to believe that I'm filled with grace. And the other name that I'd love to have had is Lynn Ann Grace Resilient, because resilience is the name of my game. I'm able to teach it and preach it because I live it. And so I do believe in congruency. We've got to walk our talk. And I'd love to believe that I'm someone who does walk my talk, or I try my best to walk my talk. But Lynn is a mighty, passionate woman. She is an all or nothing girl. If it ain't 200% that I can give, and in all of my roles and in whatever it is I'm doing, and even just my presence here today, I'd rather not give anything. So I'm passionate, I'm resilient, I'm courageous. I love life. I love life. I love that saying that says life doesn't happen, it responds to us. Because when we love life, life actually loves us back. And at the end of the day, it's all quantum. It's one of my hashtags. It's all about energy. What else does Lynn? I'm definitely a creative. I am a poet. I think the one poem that you've not yet experienced, and whenever someone says, "Who's Lynn?" I am purity, freshness, and gentility, the refreshing and replenishing water stream. I am strong, a cornerstone on which to lean and build as I constantly seek the unfolding of my dream on unfamiliar territory. I am a warrior of truth, hiding from lies, soldiering on, standing in the light of the divine. I am a candle, a torch, a light that shines so bright. It is my calling to light others' lights, to light and reignite. And so from a time purpose perspective, I'll stop it there. But that pretty much sums me up as a light bearer, as a torch bearer. I'd love to, I'm here to make this world a better place. I'm here to be the change and be so contagious in my identity and my authenticity that it rubs off on others. Not that they would then want to be like me, but where they are able to say, the other day I was speaking and I said, "What is your greatness?" And people started to put up their hands and they were like, "Oh, I'm a confident person." And I said, "No, you know what? I've come to realize that our greatness," and this is who Lynn is, her greatness is her authenticity and her vulnerability. And if that can just rub off onto the world. So I'd love to be also called an angel, because I believe that I want to create heaven on earth, not just for myself, but for others. And so I want to sprinkle angel dust and be a magical experience wherever I go in this world and in whatever I do.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. And I'm sure you do know that I'm gonna dive into the poet side of you. Beautiful. I mean, your poems are, wow, they're so relevant for each season, for each moment. What inspires you, Lynn, to write these powerful, amazing? I love this one because I picked out that you're talking about I am, and you know what they say about you declaring the I am. So what inspires you to write a poem? How do you do it? What is the sort of stage that you go by just writing these amazing poems?
I think I always used to write them as a little girl. I used to write, the simple poems, but I'd always use writing as a form of expression. So if I wanted something from my parents, I'd write my father a love letter and tell him how much I loved him. And, and I'd get what I wanted. But I think I became serious about my writing at about the age of 17, 18. So I was smack bang in the apartheid 1985 uprising. I was in matric. I was also president of the Cultural Society then, ran out of material, and on a day realized I had no material for the next day as the president of the Cultural Society, and I had to keep the school busy. And that was the night, Candy, I kid you not, that marked the beginning of some serious poetry, some good freedom, anti-apartheid poetry, which, guess what? I wrote tons of it, and my mother had to hide it because they were raiding the houses, particularly if you were perceived as an activist. So I was a passive activist, did my thing through poetry, through drama. But when they started to raid the houses, my mom hid. my poetry from the police. And up till today, we don't know where that was hidden. And that was a chunk of, I think, my first poems. And the one poem that I wrote, Poverty, I kind of got the first 6 lines in my mind, but I know that when it's time, those poems will come back, right back from where it started, which was soul, and I'll get to find them inside my soul again. So my poetry really, for many years, has also been my healing mechanism. It's been my form of expression. In fact, 23 years after I had experienced the first rape, I actually wrote the poem called The Rape, and it was 23 years later. And that was my healing balm. That made me come face to face with the fact that it was never about me, that I was an object of his displaced anger. So my poetry is definitely, I think everything that we do is God inspired, because we cannot tap into our sense of soul without tapping into God, because God resides there. And so you asked what inspires me. It's definitely God. I know that I am a medium, a vessel, a mechanism through which words of healing and inspiration are expressed, but that those words are not mine. They are words from the source, from our maker, from our creator, that comes through me. And so that's my take on my poetry.
Fantastic, Lynn. And you're so right. And please never stop writing. Your poems are phenomenal. And I do hope you're going to publish a book when you have your poems out ready, just on your amazing poems. They are, every time I hear them and I listen to you recite them, the joy that just, ignites from the inside out is great. So what a gift you have. And thank you for always sharing it with us. I'm going to sort of pick out on what you said a few minutes ago about your rape. I think here in South Africa, all of us have been blessed by your strength and just how you are helping other people that have gone through this, situation, which is not an easy thing for a lot of people to talk about. Lynn, I think what blows a lot of people's minds when they hear your story is how you've taken something so heartbreaking and you are using it to serve others. How did you do that? And how do you continuously do it on a day-to-day and talk about it without falling into a gazillion pieces? How do you do that?
I think it was only weeks after I was raped for the first time. So you do know I went through 2 rapes. But weeks after that, at the very tender age of 15 going on 16, I made a decision. This event could not define me. And there was no way I could have gone through that level of brutality for nothing. And I knew that there had to be something, quote unquote, in it. And I made it my conscious business at the age of 16, Candy, to find what that something was. And I still did not know what to call it. But looking, it was actually me saying to the deepest pain, you could not be here. You could not have arrived right into the depths of my soul for nothing. So I've got to do something with you. I've got to do something about you. And ultimately, I'm going to use you to do something in this world. Because if I don't do that, then all of what I have gone through would be in vain. And what I was actually doing in that moment as a 16-year-old little girl, I was actually articulating my purpose. And I found the purpose in my pain. And purpose has become the bridge that took me from pain to the highest version of my authentic power, which is the space in which I sit now.
Lynn, thank you for sharing. Thank you, thank you, thank you for always sharing. But I would like to know, so what makes Lynn happy? What is Lynn like? What is Lynn like?
You should actually be asking, what does Lynn love? Remember, Lynn said that she's passionate. So
Perfect.
she
What
doesn't
does
always
Lynn
use the
love?
word. Yeah, she loves, she doesn't like. So she just, she loves. She loves to cook. Cooking is her therapy. Cooking and baking are her hobbies. She doesn't see it as effort. It's considered to be one of my other gifts, but for me, it takes me right into this moment in time, and I just put all the love that I can into it, and nothing gives me more fulfillment than being able to serve others. And so serving food and playing host to serving meals and having others my meals and my baking, that for me is ultimate. But I love animals. I'm a nature lover. So nature is where I also go and find God, or where I don't need to go and find him, where just you experience him, because God is the creator of all of that. So my reward on a Saturday and Sunday is actually to go and run and power walk in the mountains. I found a very beautiful, very safe spot, and I think fitness and vitality. So my highest values are work, family, and fitness and vitality. And linked to my love for nature and flowers and butterflies, is also my love for horses and dogs. So I'm an avid, you get different versions of dog loving. So you get the dog owner, you get the dog lover, and then you get what they call the dog. I don't know if I'm able to say this on there's an Afrikaans word, but the Afrikaans word is bedorned. So dog bedorned is dog mad. So I'm not a dog lover, or 2 levels above the dog lover. I'm crazy about dogs. I treat them as if they are my children, because they are. All my babies are in doggy heaven right now. What else do I love? I love laughing, Candy. I love to laugh till my stomach hurts. Oh, when my tummy hurts, I know I don't need to do crunches the next day. I love comedy. My favorite comedy series. I'm not into lots of series, but I can watch Big Bang over and over and over. I know the script. I know the archetypes. So it's Big Bang. It's 2.5 Men. I was addicted to watching Rowan Atkinson when I was pregnant with my son. Up till today, he's still addicted to Rowan Atkinson himself. He can still move his ears. Luke can move his ears like Mr. Bean did, from the age of 3 without moving his head. What else do I love? I love love. I love love. If we can just all love ourselves so sufficiently, and in such an honorable, respectful way, that is how we know, the only way how we know to treat others. If that can happen, then I'd be an absolutely happier person. So I love reading, I love writing, I love adventure, I love the unpredictable, I love the unfamiliar. What else? And I love my parents. I'm blessed to still have both my parents. I love my kids. I've got a 33-year-old daughter and a 27-year-old son. What else is there that I love? I love good ice cream. I love Hoolie's Tin Roof. That's my favorite. And now they've got a caramel thing happening there, which is also cool. So I love good food. As much as I love cooking, I also love eating out. I love good food, good wine, good restaurant, and I love to dance, Candy. I love to dance. I can't wait to dance. This is my dance year. I kid you not. And it's not going to be in front of the microwave. And it's not going to be in front of my bedroom mirror with my towel around me. No, 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 no. This year is my year to do my salsa, my jazz, my ballroom. I used to be a ballet dancer while growing up and a modern jazz dancer. I stopped that after I was raped. And I guess that was the blockage. And it was amazing how, as I stepped into my 40s and just stepped higher and higher into a healing space, it was just so amazing. The more I healed, the more I wanted to dance. So I'm so freaking praying that COVID gets out of the way. I don't know. I obviously need bodyguards because that's like one of the conditions. I will go to a club, dance by myself if I have to, in the absence of a partner. At the same time, just putting it out there that I am officially single, and that I think 8 years of singularity is now calling for pluralism. So, you asked me what I love. I'd love to love someone who loves me back.
This has been, thank you. I mean, wow, Lynn. So there are a couple of things, and I'm going to ask you, a few quick questions there. What's your favorite color?
Red.
Your favorite number?
8.
Your favorite animal?
Dog. Spelled back to front is God.
You said you love adventure. So in terms of adventure, what would you do? What's the one thing that you would want to do that is so adventurous?
I would love to go and stand under one of the greatest waterfalls, either Victoria or Niagara, and not naked, no, looking ridiculously good in a full-on one piece without a shower cap.
I'm loving this.
And just be, my name means, so Lynn, my first name, Lynn, of the 4 names, Lynn means waterfall, by the way.
Fantastic.
And so I've got a very, very special relationship with water, very, very special relationship with the moon. Always has, and this was like me even growing up. So I'm a water sign. I'm a Cancerian. My zodiac is Cancerian, and then my name means waterfall. And so when I said in my, in fact, one of the lines in the I Am poem is, I am the waterfall, I am the butterfly, I am the rock, I'm the words of universality, the poetry of all souls, etc., etc. So I am the waterfall.
Lovely, lovely. So if you had to choose between sunrise and sunset, which one?
Gee, Candy, that's a hard one. Look, I'm a morning person. I'm definitely a morning person. And so for me, it would be sunrise, because sunrise is just so symbolic. It is, and the magic lies in us assuming a new beginning in any moment in time, whether it is in the next hour, because we're willing to put the past hour behind us and say, I'm starting this day afresh and I'm putting all the crap behind me, or just that thing of newness, the conscious adoption of a new attitude, a new habit. And so sunrise definitely for me is just the symbolic thing of the symbolism of newness and new beginning, and the fact that we get to experience it every day, Candy, that like just, you know, then why possibly are we recycling yesterday's crap if our divine creator is blessing us with the sunrise every single day? I mean, go figure.
Absolutely. I love that. Powerful. I love that. You spoke about food that you bake, you cook. So are you sure you are not one of those people who is very picky in a restaurant where you can actually even call the chef, demand, can I see the chef, please?
Oh, thank goodness my children are not here now, because they'd be rolling their eyes. Candy, it's not what we do, it's how we do it, darling. Remember, my third name is Grace. So yes, that happens because you're paying for something that you could have made as well. And, you know, so if my kids were sitting on either side of me right now, they'd be looking at each other, they'd be rolling their eyes, they'd be looking out the window now and saying, oh, Candy, please don't go with her. I've toned down. Okay, I've toned down. In your 50s, you go, you flow, but there's going to not be any way that I'm not going to also look. I mean, I teach others to speak their truth. I'm authentic, and that gets coupled with authentic expression, Candy. And so you have to authentically express when you are not satisfied with a meal at a restaurant.
I'm loving that you're being honest about that. I needed to ask because I do know that people that can cook and bake, yes, they know their stuff. They know their spices. They know their tastes. So it's very difficult to, you know, get them to say, well done, compliments to the chef. So you live in one of the most beautiful cities in the world, which is Cape Town. One restaurant, one of your favorite restaurants, which one?
Right now, in this moment, and for the past months, there is a very unassuming, in fact, two, and both happen to actually be Italian restaurants. There is one, oh, by the way, the one in Cork Bay called Satori. So that has now won, I think last year it won the Tourism Restaurant Awards 2020. And I actually asked them the other day, was it just for, you know, for the Cork Bay region? And it was no, it was for the entire Western Cape. So if ever you come to Cape Town, Candy, and I am in Cape Town, then Lenny will take you to Satori. So that is in Cork Bay. Overlooks, well, it's just opposite the harbor, really, not opposite the, yeah, very close to the harbor, but a very Mediterranean kind of feel that road has, and I love it. Mediterranean was not the word I'm looking for. What was the word I was looking for? Anyway, it's a beautiful feel. The other thing I love is craft markets. So I love secondhand clothing as well. I know I'm jumping back now, but those are the things I forgot to say. So secondhand clothing, designer secondhand clothing, even better. Craft markets, I like whatever is quaint. I like whatever's unique because I believe that I'm unique. And so I'm never into what are the latest fashion trends, and you know, I've never been part of that collective in that way. I've always just been doing my own thing, and I love that. I love that more than ever now. And the other restaurant, sorry, is called Italian Kitchen. They both happen to be Italian. So I cook a mean pasta, and if my kids were sitting on either side, they'd vouch, and my parents would vouch. So, but I also love phenomenal pizzas. I love that thin crust, the thin, crispy crust, and I love the real deal. So why go and eat Italian pizza at the St. Elmo still exist, or Panarotti's, or you know, so, I'm not a commercial cookie man. I'm that unique girl. if I want Italian, I'm going to go to Italian. And then the other restaurant is in Deep River in Cape Town called Italian Kitchen, very unassuming. So both these places look pretty unassuming from the outside. You know, it's not Lani, it's not, and a lot of people would be expecting me to have mentioned those Lani ones. And and that's not who I am, actually. It sometimes appears that I'm like that, but I'm a simple cookie. That KISS principle, keep it simple. That is how I live my life. It is how I put my boundaries in place. It informs really just the simplicity of my life. So I don't need a lot. I don't need a lot. I'm grateful, so grateful for the simplest, littlest things in life, like dogs and sunrises and red cocktails.
Love that. Completely love. You see, for me, I think time just flies when I'm enjoying myself. And I know, the few people that I've also, tuned in are also just loving this. I mean, you have drawn us into your world. And thank you again for being so open and just letting us in. So in closing, with who Lynn is, her being the poet, her being the, incredible international speaker, COVID has changed the world forever. A lot of people love to talk about post-COVID. And for me, I'm saying there's no post-COVID. COVID is here to stay. We just now need to get to a point where we need to learn how to navigate and live in this time with COVID. So, when it hit, all of us didn't know, there was no script. We didn't know what it was. We didn't know how to be. We hadn't even heard of the words of social distancing. As human beings, we're a social bunch of a race. Now, we are now slowly getting up. Well, in Africa, at least, most of us haven't hit the third wave. In other parts of the world, in Europe and, the Americas, most of the countries, they're in the third wave. So people are still trying to navigate life. People are still trying to understand how to be. Amazing people who've sort of learned how to navigate life normally would tell us to say, think differently, think outside the box, be positive, be happy, dig within your soul. But a lot of people are saying, how? We don't know how to do that. So in closing, what advice would you give the people that are listening in now, and those that are going to listen in when we post this on social media platforms? What would you tell them? How should they be going forward? What's your advice to them?
Candy, I had no idea that there were people listening in right now. You should have told me. Well, thank you, people listening in right now. What advice? Could I just share something in terms of my own experience on day 2 after Cyril Ramaphosa had made that first lockdown announcement? On day 2, after that announcement, it was God and myself. And I said to the maker, hello there, I'm a speaker. And this is going to impact my livelihood. What possibly am I going to do? And the response I got was pretty clear. It was, keep walking with me and keep talking to me. And what I started to do was become very conscious, Candy, of not becoming too consumed by what we were hearing in the media. Yes, there were deaths. Yes, there was danger. But, the overconsumption around that was causing the crisis to almost be more of a critical crisis. And so the advice that I needed to, number one, firstly apply in my own life, because remember that I still had to inspire during COVID, and I could not allow myself to vibrate at the same level as the crisis. My consciousness had to be higher than the crisis so that I could inspire during the crisis. And I think what I'm getting at here in answering your question is that to navigate our way out of it, there are certain things that we need to do. There might be vaccines still happening. We might experience the third wave, all of that. But Viktor Frankl, Mandela, and I have also come to the realization that the moment you become overconsumed in captivity by captivity, you will begin to live in captivity. So the only thing that we literally have control over, while we cannot control anything external, is our mind and our mindset. And so the perspective that I had to assume during COVID was, okay, COVID is happening, but what can I do during COVID as a speaker, as a poet, as a helper, as a healer, as a counselor, that is still going to have me live my purpose while not earning, obviously, but I was living my purpose. And the amazing thing was that as I went deeper and deeper into my purpose, the global award started to happen. So every global award that I have received, I've received during COVID. That's the one thing where we actually need to not focus on only the crisis. We can focus, our conscious mind can focus on only one thing at a time. And so we can't focus consciousness and crisis at the same time. If we focus and get overconsumed in the crisis mode, and our consciousness remains in a crisis mode as well, we're never going to get ourselves out of there. And so that's the one thing. The other thing is that COVID has definitely taught us stuff. You know, people say COVID has taught me the gift of health. Yes. It's taught us the gift of family, because how many family members haven't been taken and stolen by this virus, by this disease? My question to people are, so that's the realization, and that's beautiful. What is the application of that realization? How are you applying that realization right now? Yes, we say we appreciate our health better and in a greater way, and we place more value on it. But what are you now doing about your health on a daily basis that expresses how much you value it? What are you doing with your family, with love on a daily basis that expresses how much you are appreciating the fact that they have not hit a grave yet? Which is the second thing. And the last thing I wanted to say was, I almost forgot. I did forget right now. I think the last thing was proactivity is so important, Candy. If we never think beyond what we are going through, whether it's COVID or whether it is any personal crisis, if we never think ourselves out of there or envision ourselves out of there, we need to envision freedom while we are in captivity before freedom manifests. And so for me, what worked was also, what are the proactive mechanisms that I will continue to put in place? And even our meeting and what we are now doing is a proactive mechanism. You having prepared your speakers, lined your speakers up, not waiting for COVID to end to do that, but being proactive. There's a thing about proactivity and taking a proactive stance. When we are proactive, when we are one or two steps ahead, we automatically experience a greater sense of control. And I would say to people, you know, write your next holiday destination down. Go and source what it's going to cost. I've made a list of which countries, by the way, Candy, I'll be speaking in order of preference. And so Africa, yes, is number one on my list. Nigeria is the first country I'm speaking. Then I will be speaking in Mozambique. Then I will be speaking in New York. Then I will be speaking in Germany. And then I'll be speaking in the UK. And that makes me feel good, that in the midst of COVID, while I'm wearing a mask or not wearing a mask, inside my car or outside my car, cooking or not cooking, I still have the capacity to dream and nobody can stop me.
And that's how it is done. Wow. Lynn, what an absolute pleasure. What an amazing few minutes that have just run by so quickly. And thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for making the time. Thank you for allowing all of us to get to know the other side of Lynn. I mean, people have seen you on so many platforms. People have heard you, on radio interviews. People have seen you on TV. But today we got to see this jolly, fantastic, down-to-earth, easygoing woman. We heard a lot as well. The next time I think we will not talk to you, we'll talk to your kids because we want to find out more.
About brand credibility. Yes. Hello.
So Lynn, once again, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. What an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for having had me. Bless you. And thank you. I enjoyed myself, Candy.
I'm glad. I'm so glad. So to all of you who've joined me for this fantastic episode 5, you've gotten to know more about Lynn. She's a lovely person. You heard that she loves to laugh. So for all of us who want to avoid those exercise in the morning where we crunch ourselves out, where we're trying to burn these love handles, let's laugh hard. It is about living your best life today and now.
Absolutely.
So you've heard Lynn's story. She's got an amazing story. This is a woman who's gone through a traumatic event in her life, and she decided it's about choice. We all have choices. Lynn just told us now that you need to choose. You need to make a decision. Yes, we are going through times that we are learning. All of us are learning every day. There's no script, but choose. It's about the mind. So she chose to use something that most of us would have just not gotten out of it. And that's how she helps us to look at life differently. If you want to get Lynn to help you, you want to hear Lynn's story, you want to find out from her how your mind can look at things very differently, very positively, where you have this lovely, bubbly energy, please go to the website, which is www.ewconsult.com. For more information, and if you've got queries, please send us an email on info@ewconsults.com. What an episode. So join me again next week when I bring you another amazing facilitator. I am grateful to all these facilitators because they're allowing us access into their lives. We get to relax. You get to see how sweet, simple, and easy they are. So until next week, thank you for joining me. Have a lovely morning. Have a lovely afternoon. Have a lovely evening wherever you are. But always remember, let's live large and be bold. Thank you.